Hey guys, it's Ashley, your scrapping nerd, and I'm back today with a layout for Scraplift Crafternoon. It's where a bunch of my crafty peeps and I get together and we scrap lift an amazing layout from somebody. And this week we're scrap lifting Miss Carrie from Miss Carrie Creates, and she did this beautiful layout, and I love all the ripped papers, and so that's where I'm drawing my inspiration from. And today I'm using the Simple Stories Winter Wonder as well as Echo Park Winter papers and embellishments. I got this in a My Creative scrapbook kit, I think in January, and I just haven't used it because I live in Arizona and we never have snow here. So I'm not able to do snow pictures. And so I have a bunch of these, and this Snow Much Fun cut file came in the My Creative scrapbook kit. But these are all really cute papers, and like I said, some of them I'll be able to use that's not winter related, but like I wanted to use the snowflakes on this page, and I thought about backing the cut file, but I don't do that. And then you saw that I pulled in my Nuvo Drop Simply White. I have some embossing powder from Recollections in Pearl, and I did have a tag in the beginning that I got in a Christmas swap last year, and I thought I was going to use that or the cut file, but I decided to use the cut file. So I'll put that beautiful tag that was created and sent to me, I will put that to the side, and I will use that on another layout. And so like I was saying, since I live in Arizona, we don't have snow, but I had these pictures of us. We have a neighborhood here that's called Winter Haven, and during Christmas time all of the houses decorate for Christmas. And when I say decorate for Christmas, they like go overboard, decorate for Christmas. And it's really fun. You go and you walk through and see all the lights, and then they do like food drives, and they have food trucks and everything. And there was this like snow machine, and so they were having this snow, if you will, in the neighborhood. And so these are pictures of us under this snow machine, which is the only snow that I can scrapbook. And so it's my husband and I, and then the picture of my best friend and her two sons. And you can see the snow in the picture, but the pictures are kind of dark. I have a little bit of the snow in my hair, and then Theo, which is the baby, he's really in love with all the snow falling on him. So I just had to scrapbook these photos, even though they're not really the best at showing that it's this fake snow falling on us. But I wanted to mimic Miss Carrie's layout, and so I took a bunch of these papers, and I started with this pink kind of plaid and used my ruler that tears the edges, and I tore the strips, and then I cut the parts that because I wanted to use my Tim Holtz Distress here also. And so if the paper is too thin, like when it tears, if it is only one layer of the paper or whatever, then it doesn't distress very well with the distress tool. So I used my scissors and just kind of cut the weird thin pieces of paper off before I distressed the edges. And so I wanted to break up the dark colors, and I really liked the colors of this Simple Stories. You know, it's for snow, if you will, but it's like these great pinks and greens, and I just really liked that idea, and I decided to use the cut file Snow Much Fun because of how happy we all look in the photos of this fake snow. That's how you know we're real Arizonians. We don't really know what snow is. I mean, it does snow in northern Arizona. When I went to college at NAU, why I did that, I don't know, because I live in Tucson, and so we don't get snow. And then I go up there, and I was miserable having to take my car out of snow and live in snow. And I was like, yep, never going to do this again. And so I was happy when I graduated and came back to the desert. But otherwise, we don't see snow down here. And, you know, I'm cold when it's 76 with a light breeze. But anyways, back to the layout. Like I said, I was working on these layouts. I took on the back of that gray snowflake paper that I cut out for the middle was this kind of dark gray plaid. So I wanted to put that in between the pink and the green, and I just cut a little strip and I distressed it, and I didn't think that it was distressed enough, so then I just ripped the edges and I distressed again. And then this green is going to be the top layer, and I just cut a little bit thicker. You saw that I pulled in a 12 by 12 scrap paper to use as my guide, since I was just going to cut strips. I didn't want to have like thick layers on the layout, so I used the 12 by 12 scrap paper as my guide so that the layout stays in the 12 by 12. And so with the green ones, I just cut a little bit bigger. I'll distress it, and then I will flip it over once I get everything glued down and cut the edges off so that it stays in the 12 by 12. But I wanted to work on my cut file to get that going, and so it's kind of hard to see. I took my Recollections embossing powder in Pearl, and I used this clear embossing ink, and I ran it over the cut file, and then I put the embossing powder on it, and then I'll use my heat gun to I don't know what the word is, set it. And you can't really tell here, but it becomes like this really shiny pearlescent, and I thought it looked really pretty on this cut file. I think I'll try to zoom in for when I do the snowflake, see if I can get it so you guys can see. I just love using embossing powder because when you put it on there and then you do the heat gun, you can see it change, and it's just like a fun, it changed. But and this is really pretty. It's with the pearl essence to it, and it just, so it's still white, but it has that kind of shininess to it. And I did it even on the snowflake, but I will use my Nuvo drops here in a minute and show you how I embellish the snowflake. But I wanted to at least have the background have the same kind of pearlescent to it. And I think here's where I try to zoom in so you can see that it is pearlish. And you can tell from the parts that I hadn't done, it's a lot more of a stark matte white. But I did that to the whole cut file, and then, like I said, I'm going to take these Nuvo drops in Simply White, and I'm just going to go over the snowflake part of the cut file, just so that it has some dimension to it, and it's a little bit different from the actual cut file. And I like this way of using the Nuvo drops. Sometimes Nuvo drops are hard to use because I don't know all of the things I can do with them yet. And so doing this over the snowflake I thought was a nice touch to add that dimension. So I'll set that to the side to dry. I did use the heat gun to dry it a little bit, but I didn't want to do too much because then it'll start to like bubble. And so I'm going to go back to, now that I have all these pieces of the layout cut out, I'm going to get them kind of secured down. And so I use my tape and start with the middle piece. And while I'm doing that, I want to tell you guys to make sure that you go and check out Miss Carrie's channels, and she's Miss Carrie's Creates. She does amazing things. I'm pretty sure most of you already know who she is and have subscribed and visited her channel, but make sure you also check out all of the ladies that are part of Scraplift Crafternoon. All of their information is down below, so you get to see how they interpreted Miss Carrie's layout as well as all their amazing things. And so make sure that you peruse the description box below, like, subscribe, give them some love. And I want to say thank you to everyone who's liked and subscribed to my channel. I really appreciate it. If you haven't yet, go ahead and hit those buttons below. I'd love to have you. I do a lot of fun things. The Scraplift Crafternoon, like I said, is every Sunday, and so we pick a new layout to Scraplift, so make sure you come back and check out what we do next week as well. But you saw I got that middle part down finally, and then I just pulled in my cut file to make sure. I wanted the cut file to fit in the middle. I didn't want any of the ripped parts of the paper to cover the cut file, so I pulled that in to make sure that my pieces were far enough apart. And I am just layering them back in there. I really liked this distressed ripped thing. I don't do it too often, and so when we were going to scrap lift this layout, I was excited, and I think that this one I followed really closely to the way that she had it. She did have a rip up in the top corner, left corner, that I think was really cute, but I ended up not doing that. I do an embellishment instead. But I just liked this. And it's funny when you're doing it because you think, how does that look okay? You know, I put this strip in the middle of this pink here. But once you get all the layers down and together, it really does look good and come together good. And so I will do the same thing to the top side that I am doing here. I did, when I put my tape on each of these pieces, I didn't put it up to the edge of the ripped parts because I wanted to bend them a little so that it helped add that dimension from it. And so it's a little bit lower. And then I made sure that I had a piece of tape at the very edge of the 12 by 12 scrap paper that I used as my template, just so that when I trim down the green to match the actual 12 by 12 side, it stays stuck to that paper. And so that's all you see here, is that I have that kind of at the edge. But I'm going to do the same thing to the top part as well, and then trim off the sides. You can see this is that scrap paper I had. I just didn't like this green paper, and so I threw it in the scrap bin, but I like to use those as templates. I don't want to try to have to figure out 12 by 12 sizes. That's too much mathing for me. When I want to be I don't really like to math anyway, and then especially when I want to be creative, I don't want to be mathing. But I then took my distress tool and I distressed the whole outside edges of the layout, which I thought was kind of fun. I haven't done that, where I usually just distress in the layout within the 12 by 12 bounds, but this time I distressed the outside edge, which I think turned out kind of cool. And I thought I was gonna do my pictures on the right side, but I do end up switching them to the left. But I'm gonna get a photo layout. I had printed these photos with my selfie and they were all together, and I cut them apart because at first I thought, okay, well, I could leave them together and just have, you know, a 4x6 photo on the page with each of these four there. But I really like adding photo mats to the photos. I think it differentiates them. I think it adds some excitement to the layout. So I did cut them apart, and we'll back each of them with this kind of fun plaid stripy number from the Simple Stories collection, and separate them. And I think it just gives them a little bit of their own identity. And like I said, these photos are really dark, and so even when they were all clustered together, also just as a 4x6 photo, I think it looked really, really dark. And so separating them and adding this photo mat kind of breaks up that dark night part of the photo. Again, these aren't like the best photos, but it's a fun memory for me, and I get to use the snow photos, so it was a win-win all around. But you can see here where I switched to the left side, and I'm gonna kind of off kilter the photos instead of putting them in a 4 cluster. And eventually, whenever I decide to write my journaling, it will be down at the bottom. And so I like having the kind of a little nook for the journaling to fit should I ever get to that. And I'm trying to be careful with the cut file because the Nua drops take a long time to dry, and so that snowflake is still wet, so I haven't glued down that Snow Much Fun, and I won't until probably till the end of the video, because I'm just letting it dry. Even then, I'm like trying to make sure I don't smear it, because I like how it's puffy for the dimension, so I want to make sure I don't actually smear it and make it flat. But I wanted to put the photos up on foam because of all the dimension with the tearing. The photos were kind of flat, and so I put the foam behind there, and then the ones that were over the actual tearing parts, they needed a little extra layer of foam at the top just so that they would lay flat. And I will have to probably stick this under my glass mat just to kind of flatten out the photos a little bit, since they kind of warp sometimes, because I don't put the foam like to the very top edges of the photos. And so I just kind of stick it under my glass mat and let it all kind of flatten out for the, what is that called? An album. And so now I'm just adding the embellishments. I pulled in the trees up there and put them with the Winter Wonderland banner. I put some snowflakes on the photos, again, just in the corners since they were so black and dark. I just wanted to add something to those. And then I cut this little tag out from the back of the paper, and I put "Snow is Falling" there to cover up the tag hole because I don't like when the tag holes are open. And then just Snow Adorable and Chasing Snowflakes down here on the edge of the cut file. But the last thing I'm going to do is just use my Nuvo drops and add some little snow dots to the back of the paper for some dimension. But that is the layout, guys. Again, thank you to everyone that likes and watches my videos. It's so much fun. Make sure you go give all my ladies down there some love, and I hope everyone has a great day. Bye.